I bring you today's video from the wonderful cab of the Ford 4000. I'm just taking 5. Just thought I'd have a quick catch up with all of you. I've just been having some thoughts about farm produce and farmers cooperatives and things like this, and I was discussing it with my wife, and it was actually really interesting discussion because she brought some things to my attention that I sort of already knew but hadn't really thought of at the time. And I've been harping on about doing farming cooperatives for a long time, about getting distribution centres set up, maybe mobile abattoirs, so we can buy all of our fresh food direct from farmers. Sorry, foot off the clutch. And so I've been thinking about this in quite a lot of depth and really trying to make sure I understand it before I even consider doing anything about it. But she brought up a really interesting point. Now, she was saying when we go shopping, and we're people that I would say are farm conscious, of course, but also local produce conscious. We buy all of our fruit and vegetables from a local greengrocer place down the road when they're open every Saturday, so we go down there. They also sell cheese and bread and stuff like this, and we get all our fruit and veg from there. And we have our own chickens for eggs, we have our own meat. I'm fussy about where I get my milk from. Unfortunately, we don't have a dairy dispenser in this area, so it doesn't really fit in for me, so I don't know where to go and get that, but that would be something I would do, the sort of person I am. So if you've got people like me who we go to the supermarket and we buy our bars of chocolate, or you might buy Kit Kats or Penguins or things of crisps for the kids, little tube yogurts that the kids eat, or stuff like that. I sometimes have like chicken sticks, and yes, you can buy with the British labels and British milk and British products, but one of the reasons that makes the cooperative, puts a thorn in the side of the cooperative, really is that so much of our farm produce is hidden in processed foods like these yogurts or these chicken pieces or pepperonis or etc., ice cream, crisps. So unless we do something to completely disrupt the chain, we're going to really struggle with something like a cooperative. So I think the fact is, the more you think about it, the more it makes you feel like it's a problem with people, and it's a problem with all of us, the way we're used to eating and what the supermarkets have done over the years to control the food supply. So supermarkets have made it so none of us can live without these things. I mean, I'm sure 50, 60 years ago, no one had ever had a Kit Kat, for example. So all that's happened is it's made the supermarkets more powerful than ever before. So really, if we're going to start a farmers cooperative, the main point of it will be to barter with supermarkets to make sure that we have enough sales from farms going to the public, that we don't need to rely on the supermarkets, which will inherently push up the prices that supermarkets pay for our produce. But that's a really long time in the future. Most farmers haven't got the luxury of saying, I'm not going to send my shipment of this to this supermarket today. But if there's a cooperative selling the product, the farmer has in time got the outlet to send their produce there for the same, if not a better price. That's an option too. But what do? We as people are fundamentally used to a level of food, of processed food and packaged food, that just a farmers cooperative wouldn't be able to cover. I'm sure in time we could produce yogurts that are in tubes, and I'm sure in time we could produce chicken satay sticks. But the fact is, the supermarkets are 50 years ahead of us. This isn't me being deflating, this is me being realistic. So really and fundamentally, before we do anything to disrupt the chains, to make farming pay, to do farming cooperatives, to challenge the supermarket prices, which really have the sword of Damocles over us, we need to make sure that the people are with us in brain as well, because for everything to survive properly, we really need to take a look at what we eat and how we eat, the packaging, the sustainable angle, why we're doing it. And one of the hardest things is, being a parent myself, is my children only eat certain things because kids are fussy. And so what you do is you go to a supermarket because yourself likes this kind of yogurt, and your wife likes that bread, and your daughter likes that kind of biscuit that only they do, and this is the trap we fall into. This is why supermarkets win. So we need a fundamental shift in the way we think and the way we eat, and a fundamental understanding that actually having all this choice is giving us no choice. That's my point. So before we do anything to change the way farms supply you guys with food, we need to make sure we've got all the other things covered. We can do fresh food, we can do fresh meat, we can do fresh vegetables, we can do fresh milk, we can do all those kinds of foods. Your greengrocer, your butcher's kind of foods, your deli kind of foods. You can start that tomorrow and be quite well supported. But the fact of the matter is, most people who would use that kind of cooperative or independent business are already using cooperatives and independent businesses. We need to be doing something different to be getting to people who don't already use these things and these kind of businesses, who buy all these other foods, who don't have a lot of money, who think that buying quality food is an expensive choice they don't have. This is how we're going to win, and this is how we've got to do it. So fundamentally, we need to change the way we perceive our food and the fact that it doesn't just appear on shelves. And I don't have an answer to that, but starting with a question gives you the opportunity to think of answers. So I'd love to hear your points and your arguments to these. And I do want to point out that we have a lot of wonderful people supporting farms day in, day out, and we know you're there. And we need your help as well, because we need your maintained support so we can get the word out to get to other people who were once perhaps like you, who someone who does support farms now might have never until recently done so, until you'd seen or tasted the difference or understood the fundamentals behind it, understood the wonderful joy you can get from buying local, or you might have only recently been able to afford to buy what you would deem a higher quality product for more money. We need it to be the quality's there for less money, but it needs to be the money goes to the farmer, because the supermarkets are just raking it in and it's stopping you from getting the food you deserve. A lot of what the supermarkets do is they reduce the quality of loads and loads of products just for the fact they want to slap cheaper prices on it. We have the opportunity as farmers to give people for the reasonable price the best stuff and give them some kind of awakening. I remember when we first started doing our own meats, people were shocked and stunned at the difference in quality. We weren't doing anything special, no different to other farms. We're just doing meat right. And people are astounded by it because we're used to not having it. We're used to having supermarket interventioned crap. And when it leaves the farms, it's great. There's nothing wrong with it when it leaves the farms. It's just, I don't really fully understand how, but it just the way things are cut, the way things are hung, the way things are packaged, just to make sure we all filter in and use those businesses. But it's the other things that supermarkets do that give things like a farming cooperative a thorn in its side as an idea. You know, you can't go to a farmer's cooperative and buy specific things that you're used to buying. So I believe we need to have a bit of a dynamic shift, something a bit different. We need to change our perception, change our ideas. There's so much to work on this. I don't really know what I'm talking about at all. It's just dawned on me today. So you're first person dealing with my initial thoughts and rants about it. But this is it. This is us under one umbrella as one nation that eat. And it's about all of us. So it needs to be that the only food available is the best quality farmed food from this country. That's the end game. It's just how you get from A to B. And if you're still here listening to me talk about this, I applaud you. Thank you very much. That's the rant over for today, but it won't be the last. Cheers. Bye.